This is Grade 5 Math, Topic 14, Lesson 3. If you would like additional resources, go on to ClassLink into enVision and pull up Topic 14, Lesson 3. Let's recap from our previous two lessons. In Topic 14, Lessons 1 and 2, we looked at plotting coordinate points on our coordinate grid. So this I have written here, X and Y in parentheses. We refer to that as an ordered pair. So those are the points. And remember, the x-axis is the one that runs across the bottom. And I drew that squiggly because remember, you are going to crawl on the bottom before you walk tall going vertical, which is the y-axis. So our x-axis goes across the bottom and our y-axis is going vertical. So let's look at what this lesson has us solving for. It says, how can you use ordered pairs to solve problems? All right, so I'm going to read A. You can follow along. Both Ann and Bill earn the amount shown each week. Ann starts with no money, but Bill starts with $5. How much will Bill have when Ann has $30? Represent this situation using a table and a graph. All right, B. Make a table showing how much money Ann and Bill have after each week. So they did that for us. So let's look at the data table. So Ann's earnings, they start with 0, like the problem said. Ann starts with no money, so 0's there. Bill's earnings, he's starting with $5. The problem also said that. Bill starts with $5. How much will Bill have when Ann has $30? So we look at the points. Ann is going to be on the x-axis and Bill is going to be on the y-axis. So just like the previous lesson, these are turning into ordered pairs. 3 is going to be our x value and 8 is going to be the y value. So if I were to write this as an ordered pair, it would be 3, 8 for my ordered pair. Then it continues on, 6 and 11. So if I were to write that as an ordered pair, 6 is the x value and 11 is the y value. And continuing on. They already did all of that for us. So let's see what C says. Plot the ordered pairs from the table. Draw a line to show the pattern. Extend your line to the point where x coordinate is 30 and the corresponding y coordinate is 35. So they did all the plotting of those points right here. Now they want us to look at the point that's up here in the top right. I'm going to erase this so you know what we're looking at now. So we're going to look at that point together. When we come here on the 30, which is Ann's money on the bottom, this x-axis, we go all the way up to 35, which is Bill's money on the y-axis, and that's where that point is. What this is saying is when Ann has $30, Bill has 35. That's how you read ordered pairs to solve problems. Let's look at the convince me at the bottom. Look for relationships. What is the relationship between Bill's earnings and Ann's earnings? Well, if I look at these points, Ann's earnings across the bottom are increasing, but so are Bill's. But Bill is always making more money than Ann is making. So one answer to this question could be Bill will earn more money than Ann. Can you see any other relationships? Let's look at another example. This says in 4 and 5, find the missing coordinates and tell what the point represents. Okay, so the missing coordinates are right here in the middle. So we have to find that. So we need to look at what our coordinate grids are counting by. Just like we talked about in the previous lesson, it may not always be counting by 1, and we can look here, it's definitely not counting by 1 going up to 1,400. And this is definitely not counting by 1 because it goes up to 1,600. So we need to look at what is the scale of our coordinate grid. So I see here's 0, here's 200, so then this would be 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400. Okay, so this is counting by hundreds, across the x-axis. All right, so now we know that. So every block we go, we have to add 100. Let's look at the y-axis together. What are they counting by here? So here's 0. Okay, so if this is 100, that's 200. This is 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. Okay, so this is still counting by hundreds too. So 100s on y-axis. Just to give myself a reminder so I don't mess my coordinate grid up. And I'm going to erase those lines. So even though the y-axis goes up to 1,600 and the x-axis only goes up to 1,400 labeled, the x-axis actually does go up that high because we have 1,400, 1,500, 1,600. It would be right here. It's just not labeled. So let's look at the problem. Our point, x and y. So I'm going to write x and y over here. I'm going to remember the x-axis is across the bottom, horizontal, and then my y-axis is vertical. So let's look for the x first. I start at the origin. I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. Oh, that looks like it's on 900. Okay, so my x coordinate is going to be 900. Now we need to look for the y coordinate. Let's see what the y coordinate will be. I come over here at the origin, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. It looks like it's at 800 on the y coordinate. And there it is. So then I have my y is 800 away from the origin on the y-axis. So the coordinates that are missing are 900 and 800 for x and y that we just solved for. Now we have to tell what the point represents. Okay, so we have to read what this graph is telling us. So across the bottom, we have titanium in degrees Celsius. And then we have aluminum in degrees Celsius. Those are types of metals. But we are looking for what that point is representing. So we're not just going to say types of metals because that's in the title right here. We need to make a comparison. So I'm going to say when titanium is 900 degrees Celsius, aluminum is 800 degrees Celsius. So I can gather that from this table by using the ordered pair that I solved for, and now I can make a statement about the coordinate grid's data. Let's look at another example. This is number 5, so the directions are going to be the same. We're going to solve for this ordered pair, and then we're going to make a comparison. So remember, x first, then y, just like the ordered pair is written. X is horizontal across the bottom, and y is tall and vertical. So let's look at our scale. So 100 starting, let's see, right here. Okay, so 0's here. So what's in between 0 and 100? Oh, 50. So it's 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, and so on. So that's my x-axis. It's actually counting by 50s. Let's look at the y to see if it's the same. 0, there's a space here, and then it's 100. Okay, so between 0 and 100, that's going to be 50 again. 100, 150, 200, 250. Okay, so my y-axis is also counting by 50, so I have to remember that when I look at my point. All right, I'm going to erase this so we have some more space to work. Let's see what the coordinate points are for x and y. So I start at my origin at 0, and I'm going to do my x first. So I have 50, 100, 150, 200. Okay, so my x-axis, the point's actually going to be at 200. Let's see the y-axis now. So that's the distance from the origin on the y-axis is the y-coordinate. So 0, 50, 100, 150. Okay, that point's at 150. So now I have my y-coordinate, which is 150. And 200 and 150 makes up my ordered pair that I solved for the missing coordinate. Now I need to make a statement about this coordinate grid. So I have deer on the bottom, which is my x-axis, and I have elk on this left side, which is my y-axis. The title says that it's Yosemite Wildlife Sightings. Okay, so these are a number of sightings of deer and elk. I can say the coordinate point that I identified, that x and the y, that when there are 200 deer sighted, there are 150 elk sighted. And that is a completely acceptable statement comparing my deer and my elk sightings. Let's try one more. This is a multiple choice question. It's asking us, what does the point 15.4 represent on the graph at the right? Okay, so remember, x and y. X is across the bottom because you crawl, and y is going to be on the left at that tall vertical. So let's look at these points. So they want to know 15.4. Just like we've been approaching these previous graphs, I want to see what the scale is on the x-axis and the y-axis before I make any decisions. So what are they counting by on the x-axis? Well, it starts at 0, then it goes 5, and then there's nothing, and then it's 15. Oh, it's counting by 5, so 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, so the x-axis is by 5, so I'm just going to write that off to the side so I remember. Let's look at the y-axis and see if it's the same this time. 0, then nothing, then 2, and then nothing, then 4. Oh, that's not by 5s. What's that by? Oh, it's by 1s. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so my y-axis is actually counting by 1s. It's not counting by 5, so they're different. So we need to be careful that we don't make that mistake that we count by the wrong number on the wrong axis. I'm going to erase this so we have a clear little graph, but I'm going to leave my 1s and my 5s so I remember. So I'm going to look for that x coordinate first. So they want 15.4. So 0, 5, 10, 15 on the x-axis. And then we have to look at the y-axis of going up 4. So this was counting by 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is the point that they're talking about. That's 15.4 right there. Now let's look at our multiple choice answers to see what they want to know about that point. So I have a crawling ant. Total distance is on my y. Time in seconds is on my x. So the ant crawled 15 meters in 19 seconds. Okay, well 15 is my seconds, not meters. So that can't be right. So let's look for another answer by A. All right, B. The ant crawled 15 meters in 4 seconds. Okay, so let's see. So total distance here is 4 meters that the ant went. Okay, so I'm just going to write that down here. 4 meters the ant went. And then time in seconds, it took the little ant 15 seconds to do that. All right, so that's not it either because the ant didn't crawl 15 meters. The ant crawled 4 meters. All right, goodbye, B. All right, C. The ant crawled 4 meters in 19 seconds. Okay, so time in seconds was 15, not 19, so that's gone. All right, let's see if D is right. The ant crawled 4 meters. Oh, 4 meters, that's right there. Okay, so that's my y-coordinate, which is right here as well. In 15 seconds. Oh, 15 seconds. There's my x-coordinate, 15 seconds. So 15 seconds, 4 meters. The ant crawled 4 meters in 15 seconds. D is my correct answer.